Okay. So, guys, now we are going to talk about breakout. So, what are breakouts? Breakout is simply that 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 particular period of time when a particular candle successfully breaks through a chart pattern. For instance, now, for instance, we have the flag. Let's say let's say this is the flag, and let's say price went up, created the flag. Now the flag was going. Now there is something. What are we waiting for? We are waiting for a breakout. A breakout. Now this, what happens here is called a breakout. A breakout means that it break out of this zone. Look at this zone here. It broke out of this zone. So if something breaks out of the zone which has been highlighted, therefore that candle is called the breakout candle. Now after the breakout candle, we are expecting price to continue going up. Yeah, so that's the work of a breakout. So like I said, what do I say? A breakout simply means that price has successfully broken and closed above or below. You see now, price has successfully crossed above or below the range or the zone of the chart pattern. For instance, now let's say this is a double top, right? Now, let's say this is a double top. Now, price has not yet come here to break this neckline. So if price comes here and breaks this neckline and settles here, it simply tells us that price is simply going to keep on going down because price has broken out of the zone. So a breakout is when price successfully closes out of the zone, of the highlighted zone. Now a breakout must not always be in chart patterns. A breakout can also be in trend lines and in any of the analysis that you have seen somewhere, or you have analyzed somewhere, or you have been taught somewhere. Now let us look for example let us look for example of a trend line. Let's say the trade goes like this, so we draw our trend line. So a breakout is when the market successfully breaks that trend line. So here, what happened here, this particular zone is called the breakout zone. So it is this zone that successfully led to the breakout of this price movement. So that's basically what breakout is. So for instance, if we have our Penant where price goes like this and it begins to shrink, so that is it. Now note that price has not broken through anything, but now when price successfully breaks out, so what do? We buy. So this point here is a point of breakout where price broke the range. That is the point of breakout. And a retest is that, let us take for example this our same stuff. Now a retest is when price breaks out but now comes back and tap into that zone before going back up. That is a retest. So some people like to treat retests better than simple breakouts. Now breakout is good, but at some point it is good for you to wait for a retest, as well as retest is good, but at some point if you want to always wait for retest, you will miss a lot of opportunities. But now what is therefore the best thing to do? Should one trade retest and leave breakout, or should one trade breakout and leave retest, or what should one do? Now we are going to see on the best ones to do. Now, for instance, uh, um, for instance, if, for instance, if you go to an auction house, right, or like some of us that used to take um public transports, sometimes there are people on the bus that will be selling you goods. And if you go to an auction house, there are people that will be auctioning things. Now, when it reaches a time when the price of a good has gone up, let's say they are selling a new type of chocolate, and they are selling that chocolate at 4,000. Now, if people in that bus are actually waiting to buy that chocolate, so by the time that chocolate, let's say, let us look at a graphical example, right? So the price has reached 4,000 for the chocolate. Now we know that there is a how can I put it, I'm trying to look for the best possible example. Try to look for the best possible example to 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 explain a retest. Now, if the price of a good is 400 francs, right? Let's use the simple principle of demand and supply. If the price of a good is 400 francs, now we know that if after selling that good we see that there is an increased demand, so therefore demand raises that good to be 500 francs. Now when that good is being raised at 500 francs, people have bought a lot. So people have bought a lot. Now after a while, the man sees that, well, people have bought a lot, and now they have stopped buying. So what he does is that he pushes the price back again down to 400 francs. When he pushes the price back again down to 400 francs, it is to activate buyers momentum, so that by the time that price reaches back down at that same 400 franc zone, look at, I have highlighted the zone. So the price went up, came to 400 francs. That particular movement is called a retest. When he retested that 400 francs, an increase in demand again increased, and therefore leading back to an increase in price. So that's how a retest works. So a retest is when price breaks a zone. Look at, it's where price breaks a zone, comes back to that zone, and reacts back in that same zone. You see now, so price breaks this zone, that's a retest. A retest, let us look for the case of a supply. A retest is when price goes down. Now it ranges in this zone, right? It breaks that zone, comes back in that zone, it has retested back in that zone. Retested means the price is going back to a zone where it previously broke out from. Yes, retesting means the price is going back to a zone where it previously broke out from, and react again away from the zone. That's retest. Retest means the price is going back to a zone where it previously broke out from, and react again away from that zone. That's a retest. So if price is going up, there is a zone here, it struggles to pass through that zone, it struggles to break out from the zone. Now it retests that zone and continue going back up. So that point now is called a retest. So that action is called a retest. That action is called a retest. So people trade retest because if price goes to this zone, right, and struggles to go back. Now let's say your take profit is here. Let's say your take profit is here. And let's say your stop loss is here. Stop loss, take profit. Now if you enter immediately after this retest, it means that you will be risking more. Look at what you will risk. You will be risking more just to gain small. Are you seeing the size? Look at the size very well. It means that if you bet maybe 10,000 here to gain 15,000, it means that the distance from here to here is 15,000. If you have 10,000 and you bet to gain 15,000, it means that the distance from here to here is 15,000, and the distance from here to here is probably 8,000. So it means that you will be risking 8,000 to gain. You will be risking your 8,000 to have an additional 5,000. Yes, because you have 10,000 and the distance from here to here is 5,000, which is going to be added to your capital to be 15,000. So the distance from here to here is 5,000, and the distance from here to here is 8,000. So you will risk more to gain less. But for someone who waits for a retest, right? For someone who waits for a retest for price to come here, and he places his trade now here. You see now. So how much do you think he will risk? So you see the power of retest. It means that he will instead be risking about 2,000 francs now to gain about 10,000 francs more. So you see now. But if you had entered here instead, you will be risking your 8,000 francs to gain 5,000 francs. But if you wait for a retest and enter here, you will risk less. So retest gives you the possibility to enter price at its lowest point in the case of a buy. But if it is in the case of a sell, retest gives you the capacity to enter price at the highest point so that you will gain a lot. So that is retest. Retest is very, very good, and breakouts are good. Now you need to be careful of how you trade breakouts, and as you stay with us, we are going to look at the best breakouts and the best retests to trade.